Hello, hello. This is Jim West and Dale Ross with Talking Preps Friday night. This is week 9. Dale, this is a interesting week. Finally got cold for me. How about you? Did you get any cold weather in Charlotte?
It was cold. If you didn't see my post in our chat, uh, not having as much fat on me, I feel cooler temperatures a lot quicker. So it's kind of rough.
Gotcha.
Let me rephrase that. It wasn't rough. It just wasn't comfortable. So
Uh, I had to look over to the side for a second. I got everything on my main computer now, so I don't look like I'm doing the Olin Mills portrait. You know what I'm talking about, Dale? When you look to the side and people are like,
yeah,
what the heck's he looking at? So
you
I'm,
gotta, yeah. Just looking at as you move, you get blur going. Um,
yeah, I can. Now you see me. How you doing? So come and
we got to fix
go. Dale, tell me about your game. You were over at was it Palisades or no? You went to Audrey Kell Providence, right?
No, it was Palisades, Providence.
Oh, Palisades Providence. Okay. What was the final score in that game?
It was 36-28 overtime.
Oh wow,
Providence.
Providence wins.
Yep. Yeah, Olympic. Excuse me. Um, Palisades was up 28-7, almost midway through the fourth quarter,
Oh
and
wow.
in a worse situation than their Independence game and their Clover game, they just can't finish. They don't finish, I should say. This game, certainly I saw things as they were happening and was wondering, they got kind of conservative and they got soft on defense and it bit them. And then there's many things you can point to as to what lost the game for them, but probably the biggest thing was they were up 28-21 and Providence had the ball, on the Palisades end of the field, and they were back at, I think it was the 35-yard line. Was that right? Somewhere in that range, and Palisades made a stop, but then a player, some discipline with players was kind of an issue tonight for Palisades. So a player got an unsportsmanlike conduct call, which completely changed that set of downs and, of course, moved Providence closer. So, I hate to say it for the kid that did it, but that really probably cost them the ball game tonight. I think the way that the defense had played on that particular series up to that point of the penalty, they probably would have carried on through with that. And, Providence would have turned the ball over, but instead, you'll see in the highlights, Providence makes a nice throw. Receiver makes a wonderful catch, bobbled catch. And, I think on his second bobble when he caught the ball, he's crossing the goal line. So
Wow.
that got them to overtime. Palisades with their four downs, they ended up about a half a yard short. So on fourth down, they go for it, a couple of yards. They go for it, and instead of kicking a field goal, which was probably a good move, but they come up short, and then Providence, I think it was on third down, scored their touchdown. So very good Very good comeback win for Providence to hold themselves together, not to completely fall apart in a game that, quite honestly, right before that last series that series in the fourth quarter where Providence scored that touchdown to be down or to put them at 14 points, the game was looking out of hand. Uh, that's the way things were looking. But then, things turn, and you can't ever quit, and that's a good lesson, I think, for Providence tonight is
Right.
quit because things can turn around for you, and just because you're up by 3 touchdowns doesn't mean you can't continue to to go at it, which was in a nutshell that was Palisades' problem. I think they just didn't go after it. So. Good game. Otherwise, obviously not a good game for Palisades. Great game for Providence, and a great game for people that like close games. So,
Right.
got an overtime game.
That's an interesting conference. Palisades, Kell, Providence. I mean, there might be a 3-way tie for first place in that conference.
The problem here I see when it comes to playoffs, so Palisades, had they won and won out, would have put themselves out of the 3 teams, would have put themselves at a better RPI position.
Right.
Now, that makes, I think, all 3 of those schools, if they, let's say they end tied,
Right.
they're all 3, and even if they don't, they all 3 are going to face tough early round games. They're going to be seeing a Huff and a West Charlotte pretty quickly in their within their playoff runs. So,
that October 31st game between Providence and Kell, a lot could be, when it comes to seeding, a lot of things could happen just based on that one game. Especially, I was looking at the RPIs. There are certain areas like, I want to say like 10 through 14 or 9 or 8, or actually more like 7 to 15, where it's all kind of jumbled together. A couple of wins can, put you at the very top where you're getting a bye that first week, or you might have to play a away game. So it's
exactly
on that.
And then, Jim, I think it just for all those teams, it's going to put you into bad playoff games. So you're gonna have I think they're going to be tough regardless, but they're going to be really extra tough if you fall below, into that bottom half of the RPI. Then you're gonna end up facing a lot of tough games in the playoffs. Anybody that falls into that round.
Oh yeah, you're exactly right. I was looking at our buddy Joe Evans. His team played Huff tonight, and they put on a pretty good show against Huff. I mean, Huff is one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the state, and they lose 35-3. But if you keep it under a running clock margin, you're doing pretty good against Huff.
Exactly. I saw some, an early score, and it was close, closer, I should say, than I thought it could be. So you got to give Joe a heck of a lot of credit for having his team prepared and, go out and face what was obviously a big uphill battle. And, hey, Coach Chris. So,
yeah, exactly.
Hey, we got you on. Come on in. Yeah.
Yes, sir. How's everything?
Good.
I'm doing great, Chris. What you been up to
today?
Your
game.
A little busy. We had a tough one versus CSD. just probably the sloppiest game we played all year. They're a good football team, and we 4 fumbles, a lot of penalties. But we stuck it out, stuck together. We went down and drove. Probably went about 80 yards in the last minute, some change, and went for 2 instead of tying it up, and got the 2-point conversion. Ended up winning 29-28.
Wow.
So it was a good game.
That's the thing, Coach. You face teams like that, you got to be on your game because, hey, you might think you're favored, but you're not on your game.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. That's why I tell our boys all the time. Everybody put their pants on the same way. It doesn't matter what it looks like on paper. You got to show up and you got to play. So, and they're a good team. They're well coached. They got some good players, and we make mistakes. They take advantage of it. It was a tough one for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say Community School of Davison, that's one of the top 5 teams in the 2As in the States. And obviously Corvian is too. That's it's a statement about your program where you can have an off night, a sloppy night, and still beat a very solid, very good team in your classification. That's a sign of a great program right there. And Chris, you've done a great job over there in Corby in a very short time.
I really appreciate it. Our boys really, bought in. I don't like to compare them to last year's team or anything, but last year's team really laid the foundation of what, this program was going to be, winning 15 games in a row before losing. But now the expectation is set. And, and I tell the people all the time, I'm not looking to create a good football team. I want to have a culture, and that winning culture. And, we ended last year with, conference champions and state reshuffle stuff. And right now we got a share of it and looking for more.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question. So I was at an overtime game myself. Take me through, or take us through, not just me. Take us through your game and anything that you may have had to do to keep your team motivated, or get your team motivated to finish the game.
I really didn't have to do much to keep them motivated. I mean, they wanted to win. I just think over the years this kind of became a rival. Our very first year we scrimmaged CSD. They were our first scrimmage, and we kind of got after it in that scrimmage. And then the following year, we were up like I think 20 points early, and they came back and beat us. And then they come to our place and we beat them. So I mean, it was really a grudge match. And it wasn't so much keeping them up, but more focus, just kind of controlling the excitement and all that stuff. And, it was never a doubt late that we would at least put a drive together to give us a chance. And then, like I said, we scored. It was probably about 28 seconds left. And it's funny because we go to kick, and one of our young guys, we have a few freshmen that play. One of our young guys is down, so we only had 10 people. So instead of scrambling and doing all that stuff, I ended up calling a timeout. And we talked about it and decided to go for 2. And we punched it in and had a couple big sacks on that last drive, and they were out of timeouts. And best play in football was able to get in victory formation.
That's the best play, isn't it? For a coach, it is.
For sure. But they got some really good players, and like I said, I mean they're very well coached. I could see us playing each other again. In these next 5 weeks or so in the playoffs. Getting ready to, to make a deep run and possibly run into each other again.
I bet Jim agrees with me when I say you guys probably will.
Yeah. Yeah, TJ felt the same way. He thinks we'll see each other later on in the playoffs. But, like last year, we got lucky. We were in position, the ball bounced our way a few times. I mean, it takes a lot more than just being a good football team to make that deep run, So it's just kind of head down, chopping the wood, and Focusing on 1 week at a time. Just try to finish each week 1-0. That's the goal.
Coach, can you stay with us, and we're going to throw some Charlotte scores up?
Yes.
So, wow, that Hopewell game, Jim, I don't know about you, but that's a little bit bigger margin than I thought it might be.
I didn't have what's the word for it. I thought Geringer would come in a little bit closer. Oh, okay. I see Huff was up 142-10 over South Mac. And Myers Park, they keep on rolling in. I mean, 42-0.
Yeah. I don't see any surprises in winners. And as we talked leading in, South Mac was facing a very, very big hurdle here. And let's commend him for what happened there. We've got, Chambers won. I thought that might be a little closer game than 21-6, but
I think Chambers had something to prove tonight. A little bit probably more this week than any other week. And they came on. I mean, that's a pretty good win against North Mac, 21-6. And that next score right here opened my eyes. I did not see this happening.
So what I'm going to do is I'll do my crow thing. I'll get me some crow and hot sauce, and because crow's only good with hot sauce.
Are you deep frying it, or are you going to saute it, or what?
Oh, it'll be
crow etouffee.
Yeah. So I'll definitely eat some crow for that. Jim, that West Charlotte game, getting beat by 3 scores is not fun, but that's really not bad, in my opinion, for a program that's having to rebuild.
Right.
Having to go through some tremendous rebuild at Butler. And, West Charlotte being one of the top teams in 8A, and, of course, I think in the state. So,
I agree with you. West Charlotte's defense is stingy. There's going to be a lot of teams that would be shut out against West Charlotte. But holding West Charlotte to 21 points is a pretty good testament for Butler.
Yeah, I like a lot. I like the defensive scheme that Sam runs. I really do. I wish he'd understand. I won't teach it to anyone, but I would love for him to teach me the rules of that defense. I love how fast it plays. I love the way it hits the edge. Looks like we got some highlights.
Okay.
Let's run the highlights and then we'll come back to the scores.
Yeah.
7 Palisades from their own 33. Good run. He's gone. He is gone.
So I could see immediately when he hit that hole, it just from the outside edge there, it was easy to see he was going to make it all the way.
3rd and 3 for Palisades.
Another good run.
Touchdown. It's and goal. Providence from the Palisades 12.5-yard line.
I'm sorry, I couldn't get all the guy. I was too zoomed in too much. He made a great catch. That was a great catch.
Palisades from the Providence 5. Tight formation. Wing back. And touchdown. And goal, Palisades from the Providence, I think, 4-yard line. They are going for it. 4th and goal. 4th and goal to go. Touchdown.
So 28-7.
1st and 10, Providence from the Palisades 20-yard line. Under 10 seconds remain.
Oh, wow.
Third and goal.
Some of my highlights are either out of order or missing. That was the touchdown that tied the game.
In overtime.
Nice play.
All right.
Okay, Providence wins in OT.
So we for some reason we lost some of the Providence touchdowns. I'm sorry, people. Maybe we'll have them later or on a later show, but was I thought a really a good ball game as we saw there, and I had that hit in there, Jim. It's
that Greater Charlotte game. I saw one of the messages come in here. I was trying to be nice, but anyway, Huff supposedly had a running clock and pretty much dominated that game. So,
our man,
yeah. I was trying to keep it a little bit. Yeah, I was trying to keep it a little bit under there, but under the radar. But so much for that idea.
Well,
Southwestern 7A, 8A, that Ardrey Hill, Ballantyne Ridge. Do you think Ballantyne Ridge is a team that's that might maybe in 2 or 3 years be able to compete in that conference, or do you think they're going to be like Rocky River or East Mac at this point?
No, see, the thing is that there is talent in that part of the city.
Gotcha.
And I don't think that's going to change. It was feeding, a lot of it was feeding, Ardrey Hill and Providence. So I don't think that's going to change. I think it's just going to be a matter, is the coaching staff the right coaching staff? Do they build it?
Yeah.
I think they can, Jim, I think they can win. And quite honestly, I think they can compete in the conference, but when, I don't know. Say we'll see what happens with next year. If they should be competitive, they're competitive next year. Yes.
That was a big win for Rocky River tonight. They beat East Mac 37-19. Rocky River, they've struggled some, and I'm glad for Coach Ken. He's a great fella, and great to see Rocky River win. All right, going to Greater Metro. A.L. Brown, they keep I think they lost last week to Olympic. Was that right?
Yes.
And then they beat Hickory Ridge. That Central Cabarrus game, I know that Central was up 20-0 right before halftime. I don't know what the score is on that. Oh, there's Coach Chris back. And
I would. That game finished. I think actually all these games finished the way I picked.
That West Cabarrus game between and Cox Mill, that was one that I even said I think this is like a 1-point to 3-point game, and West Cabarrus wins 35-34. So that's
Wednesday night. That was a consensus with us that it would be a one-score, inside a one-score game.
Well, I was just looking at the other scores here. Olympic Harding, nothing really surprised me on that. No. Mooresville, Davie County, Mooresville keeps on winning. Marvin Ridge beats Catholic 7-3. Did you have that on your radar?
No, absolutely not.
Marvin Ridge gave Porter Ridge a pretty good fight last week. I think it was like 26-23 or 23-20 or something like that.
Yeah, but
I didn't see this happening either.
I don't see Porter Ridge being on par with. Well, as you can see, they're not in the same category as Weddington and.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see about Sun Valley even. I don't think even with Sun Valley. Now, those two will play last game of the season for what I used to call the Battle of Walmart and Cookout in Indian Trail, who owns those two. So, no, I didn't see this Marvin Ridge at all. I picked Catholic to win.
Right.
I don't know. I thought Catholic would win by 2 scores, to be honest. So,
Coach Chris, just out of curiosity, where do you live in Do you live in Charlotte, or you live in the outside of Charlotte, or?
I live in Charlotte. I stay close to the Mount Holly area,
Okay.
right off Brookshire. So
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, that area is really grown up from where it was 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. Believe me.
yeah, I mean, my best friend's been here since like '04. And I've been coming down for years, just coming to hang out and visit. And, 485 wasn't even here. I was getting off down on 77 and driving all the way up, and it was trees and one gas station. And I remember I didn't come for a couple years, and I put in my GPS, and they're like, "Oh, you got to turn here." And I'm like, "I've never gone this way." But I follow my GPS. It's a new freeway and restaurants and Chick-fil-A's. And I'm like, geez, oh man, it's just steady growing. I mean, it's a beautiful area. Charlotte is
70?
itself,
You did 77 and then ended up getting on Brookshire. Actually, it was
off
Brookshire
of 85.
there. And then 16, exactly. And then took 16 out. I know the area well.
Yeah, but I mean, it's beautiful, especially coming from Youngstown. We were like a steel mills, town. And when the steel mills closed, I mean, it just kind of became a struggle.
Right.
So leaving there and coming here is just, it's a whole new world. I talk about it all the time. I just love walking into my backyard with no shoes on and feet in the grass and the sun shining. I mean, nothing like it.
Gotcha on that.
Did we
Which
have any
high
other-
school? What high school district would Coach Chris? Coach Chris, which high school district are you in? You think?
The school that I would go to would be West Meck.
West Mac. Okay, I got you. So you're right down in Dell's old stomping ground, then.
Well, not really.
Not really.
No. While I stomped in that area, Big Waves Radio, WROQ used to be out there. I fished a lot. We fished at what we call the hot hole there. There's a power plant as you go back towards the river. But no, I was more inner city than in that part of where he lives was West Meck then, but it was country. It was very, very much country. So
Gotcha.
not my stomping grounds. No way.
So
The scores here.
some more here.
Yeah, I'm off of Brookshire and Mount Holly, Huntersville Road, that area.
Yeah.
Like right in there. So
Gotcha.
nice area for sure. And then
It is.
my two best friends stay, like, one is 2 minutes one way, the other one is 2 minutes. One been my best friend since high school, the other one college roommate. My son moved down, he stays over by Corvian. So, just we're all right here. So we kind of get to hang out like old days.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. So no surprises. I figured Christian Country Day could be a good game. We lost the scores for some reason.
It's all right. Yeah.
But I did believe that Christian would win that game, and by several scores. And Providence Day, excuse me. In Latin, I expected that to be unfortunately what we saw there. Are we going to get our scores back up?
We probably will a little bit. Let me ask you this: Country Day, how many kids does Country Day have compared to like Latin or Providence Day? Or
I don't know exact numbers, but Country Day, and I would say Country Day and Latin and Christian and even Providence Day are all similar in size. Providence Day may be a little bigger. Number of students, if I had to guess, I'm guessing in the 1,200 students. I don't know.
Oh, it's that many. Okay.
I'm guessing on Providence Day, not Latin.
I was wondering about like Country Day, because I thought Country Day had a lot less.
Oh, I'm sorry,
students or
Country Day. My guess would be Country Day is somewhere between 900 and
Oh, well.
1,100. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Langston could somebody could type a number in if they know it and tell us exactly. Jim, you got to understand. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing I miss with Ohio. There's one playoff, like private, public, you name it. I mean, it's one playoff. I would love to see like Providence Day go through, if they're an 8A school, go through that gauntlet of Independent or Mallard Creek and West Charlotte and Huff and some of those schools. But yeah, there was no separation of public and private. The private schools, I went to a private school. I coached at a private school for like 16 years. And, you can get kids from, all over the place. But it was, you had a certain area, a set school. And if you got kids outside the school, then they used a multiplier. So a lot of the private schools played up divisions instead of their actual enrollment because of, where you can draw students from. But everybody played each other. I mean, that's probably the biggest thing I miss.
The reason that's not done here is that to be in the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, you have to agree to certain rules and regulations, and private schools didn't agree to those. And there were everything here in Charlotte. One of the big issues of even having privates play publics had to do with reclass of students. The private schools were allowing reclassification. You could have a kid attend all their schoolage in public school here and then reclass and go to private school and play. So those regulations and your agreements to hold within them is why we have two associations. That's probably the main reason we have two associations. And
yeah, I get that. The reclass is new to me. We didn't do it in Ohio. It wasn't allowed. You had 4 years to play, just being under the Ohio High School Athletic Association. So coming down here and, I lost a player to reclassing and just different things. I mean, it's different. That's definitely different.
Exactly. So that's why the two do not blend together. If they blended together, Providence Day would probably be, and playing up even, would probably be a 6A team. Would probably have to play in the 6A. No more than 7A.
Right.
Which 7A is the brutal. That's the
7A is rough for sure. Yeah, I remember Sam talking about it. He was like, I'm okay with 8A. Like, we got there. He was like, because 7A is tough. It's a tough road.
Well, 8A, you got 32 teams. 7A, you got 60. And there's a lot more teams in that 7A. The more teams are competitive.
Jim, do you agree with what I said about why the two don't blend together?
Yeah, I do. I think some of it's also more cultural in North Carolina than it is in Ohio. There's definitely a discrepancy. If you go to Ohio, there's a lot more. What's the word for it? It's more mixture, I guess, between the public and privates. North Carolina, I just don't see it. I don't see a lot of mixing between the two schools.
Yeah, and the other thing that we did in Ohio is it's a lot of work, for the state, but everything is even. So you might be, for us, Division I is the biggest division and 7 is the smallest. So there's a possibility you could be in Division I in football, but Division II in basketball and track. So they just try to balance it out and they move the numbers. So it's an even number in each division. So you just don't have it. Like Division I is the same as 8 here. Like it's the top schools, but then 1 through 6, like all the football numbers are even, all the basketball numbers. But like I said, you can be like our school. We were Division III in football, but we were Division II in basketball. We were Division I in track because you just looked at the numbers and you just try to keep everything pretty even.
Gotcha. Well, looking at your conference, Christ the King beats Pine Lake Prep 41-13. And, of course, we talked about Corrigan beating Community School Davidson 29-28. Lake Norman Charter beats Langtree Charter 56-19. Coach Chris, any surprises with those scores at all for you? Or?
No. Pretty much what I would expect, from those three games for sure. Lake Norman's they're a good football team, and Christ the King is going to be another throwback, hard-nosed, tough physical team like CSD today.
Only shocker I see, Jim, is down in that next group.
Stuart Kramer. Yeah, I mean, they didn't just beat Lincolnton. They took them off the rails, 45-21. I mean, Lincolnton beat Shelby. You think they had a letdown? I think Kramer's a good team. I really do think they're a Kramer team. I just didn't see it to that level.
I don't know how you have that kind of it's not like, I don't know. I'm not even going to try to explain it because I don't know. But I don't know why how you'd have a letdown against Stuart Kramer, because I picked Lincolnton to win, but I did not think Lincolnton would win big.
I didn't either. I was thinking 10, 13 points or so.
Yeah. So I figured it'd be a competitive game that you're going to have to coach, and the players, you're going to have to tell the players you got to be in the game. There's no overlooking. But boy, something happened.
Yeah, you got that right. And that kind of goes back. You can't overlook what your opponents. I don't know if that happened with Lincolnton or not, but you have to be focused every week.
You got to be focused every play. That's the thing that I saw tonight. And coming into a game, you got to be focused, and you got to remain focused throughout the game. And so maybe someone will tell. Well, Jeff was at that game, so Jeff. I'll find out from Jeff.
A couple games that Yadkin Valley that surprised me. I thought Union Academy would beat Albemarle, and that was a close one, 31-24. And after last week, I was kind of down on North Stanley, but they righted the ship and beat North Rowan 35-23. And that's a North Rowan team that beat South Stanley earlier on. So, I think North Rowan beat South Stanley by 3. South Stanley beats North Stanley by 40, and now North Stanley beats North Rowan by 12. Gotta love high school football.
You do. Maybe we can get the scores to flip back around.
I'm looking at that ambassador score. I wonder who was the leading scorer and how many 3-pointers were made in that game.
Yeah, exactly. You got
67-46.
We'll see. We can look at the South Point Kings Mountain scores.
Exactly.
There was a couple. South Point beating Kings Mountain 35-0. Dale, I did not see that. I didn't see a running clock in that game.
I saw South Point winning, but
I did too.
That's 7 points away from a running clock.
Well, it is actually a running clock now, 35 points.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that. So I figured South Point would win. I thought they would win by 2 scores.
Yeah.
It's more than 2 scores. That's big. The other scores, at least in the Big South, that's not surprising. Mount Pleasant
76-0 doesn't surprise me. Let's see here on this.
What was the Forest Hills? The Forest Hills had to have won that game, I would think. Big. What was
it was 41-28 Forest Hills.
Okay.
Forest Hills, they've had some injuries. They had a player transfer, and they're not nearly as strong as they were earlier on in the season. They might be improving again, but they did have kind of a bump in the road. So
13 that's closer than, I don't know. That's a little closer than I thought it would be.
The South Piedmont, nothing really surprised me, although that J.M. Robinson win, 49-0, that's a statement win. I'll tell you what, people do not need to underestimate J.M. Robinson. No, I know that I think they lost to Myers Park first week of the season, but since then they've just been on fire. Salisbury finally wins again.
Yeah, Robinson will be playing late in the playoffs. I don't think that they will get a deep run.
You know what? I bet you Joe Glass is like, you know what? I want to show those guys over there talking preps. They don't know what the heck they're talking about. And he was probably
Hickory,
just smiling ear to ear when we were
so
picking
Allen
East
was at
Lincoln.
that game. I expect Allen probably interviewed Coach Glass, so I have to look on our Facebook page and see.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
Good game. Maiden Bandies. Look at that. That was a good game. And Newton Conover and West Iredell. Look at that. 3 great games. Wow.
Oh, even Bunker Hill was up 7-6 at halftime over Fred T. Ford. So I think all 4 of those games were pretty good.
Wow.
The Big Six, the Asheville School Covenant Day. I'll let you talk about it if you know anything about it.
There's no surprise with either one of those games.
Squat about them.
Yeah, I don't see any surprises there. I think that's all the scores we got for now, since we already covered the other.
Yeah.
Ashbrook, Ashbrook, I'm just going to speak up on that. They got a nice win tonight. I think Ashbrook's set to make a deep run as well.
Let's just back up a little bit with that 5A with Hickory and East Lincoln. Both of them are title contenders. South Point is a title contender in 5A. Obviously, Crest is. How fun is the playoffs going to be in 5A in the West? Like week 4, week 5?
Jim, that's the classic 3A conference. And
yeah.
It
was like the small – it used to be like the small 3A,
Right. And, 3A – I've always thought 3A has had very competitive, especially here in the West, has had very competitive playoff games. And I remember going to the East Lincoln South Point game, and that's for one of the best playoff games I've been to. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of competitive football.
We have a lot of 3A, or the old 3A around me, like in Orange County and Durham County and in Alamance County. A lot of teams that used to play the old 3A. And I always like watching 3A teams play, especially the really good ones, because there's a lot of, not only do they have good players, but they also have really good coaches. Because a lot of those coaches could go up to a bigger school, but they like to stay back at the 3A because they're having so much fun and they're pretty much ingrained into that community. And you have a lot more chess matches in the old 3A. I think you're seeing that now in the 5A.
The 3A, the way I looked at it is community is really strong from 1A and we're talking last year classifications. 1A to 3A, community is very, very strong, and support for the schools and everything. Then when we got up into 4A, it really varies. There are some places that support their teams very well, but it's not the same kind of environments as we saw in 3A, 2A.
The only teams that you ever see this, like the old 4A, like A.L. Brown, Richmond, they always had really good communities. They closed down the town, Same thing with Newbern down in the east.
And Scotland.
Scotland too.
Yeah.
But then you go to other schools like in Wake County and 4A, no, there's no shutting down even a road or a subdivision for a football game.
Yeah, tonight I'm at a game that the home side almost filled out, but the visitor side, Providence, you can see there by the number of people that were there on the home side. But the Providence side, the visitor side, Jim, was pathetic. It was absolutely pathetic. You might get to see it in a later clip. You can see just how many. I did take a picture and post it on X and made a comment about how small. So a community, and Providence is, I think, considered a community. That if you would go to Providence games, Jim, and they would pack the home side, and a lot of times they would travel well. Look up at that on your right is the visitor side. Well, there you go,
Yeah.
left. You see that? That's pathetic.
Palisades from the Providence, I think 4-yard.
So,
Well,
They are going for it.
community.
Fourth and goal to go.
I
Touchdown.
like environments, and if Providence had brought fans to this game, this game would have had fantastic environment.
Under 10 seconds remain.
But instead, the people don't come. So
Third and goal from the
this is the problem in Charlotte, Jim.
Providence.
you know, it's interesting. Like in Wake County, we don't. I don't live in Wake County. I live in Orange County, but Wake County, there's pretty good turnout for games. But most of it is geared with the students. The students come out there and they support their team. They have cheer sections. It's like going to a college football game. You have some students who are just diehard fans. So it's good to see that.
When you go to games like Huff's got a great student section. Back in the day, and when I'm now the day I'm going to talk about is the 2000s. So you go to a Butler Independence game, didn't matter where it was at. Student sections were just phenomenal. Fans packed out. You know, we saw over 21,000 at Memorial Stadium at one of the games. Memorial Stadium was just like filled to the brim. So it does happen, and there are good student sections. The question is, do the student sections travel? And for some games they do in Mecklenburg County, but in most games they don't travel. So home sections will usually do okay to great, whereas visitor sides rarely do great. That's
Right.
You know, I don't know how it is in Wake County for every game. I haven't been to Wake County games in 15 years. It's been about 15 years since I've been to a game in Wake County.
Dale, let me ask you this: Green Hope, it's real close to the airport. They have a mailing address. They actually have a Cary mailing address. But you look at their site or their website, they said they're in Morrisville. It's Morrisville, West Cary. It's all incestuous.
Right.
Well, they have the fields, and then they have a pretty nice size visitor sideline for the the visiting team, and then you have an 8-lane track, and then you have a lot of grass, and then a fence, and then some more grass, and then you have the fans way back there, and it's not like they're eye level with the field. They're sunk down a little bit. I don't know what they did. They because almost like they decided, let's dig about 5 or 6 feet down so that they'll have to stand all night to see the field.
Jim,
anyway.
I've seen that at some other high schools where the stands are just so far away because
and then they're lower
that space.
Yeah,
and then they're lower. Exactly. It's I don't get it.
You look at the home field. They've got a nice thing. They can see the whole. They can see the whole field they want to. They're raised up in the sky. So.
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's look at the over in Raleigh area. Apex, no surprise there. Green Level's kind of a struggling team. Jordan, I tell you what, they keep on winning. The game I went to was Willow Spring versus Green Hope, 24-21. Willow Spring, they win on a touchdown with 38 seconds left in the game, and they pull it out 24-21.
My kind of game, Jim.
Oh,
I love
it.
those. I love games that finish that way. Yeah.
And I was chatting with some people. It's like it was an ugly game. I mean, there was a lot of flags going on. You had it was a weird night, and you see some people there. You could see even in the stands, some of their nerves were kind of frayed, but it was kind of a good energy too. You like having the fans kind of engaged. You had a lot of yelling at the refs tonight, and I'm usually pretty neutral when it comes to refs. I think both sides of the fans could had a lot to yell at the refs tonight. There was a lot of blown calls. And I'm the worst. I would be the worst ref in the world, and I'm saying that even I saw that there was probably half a dozen blown calls tonight.
Right.
No surprises there. Leesville Road keeps on winning. Millbrook, I didn't think that Inlay would make a game. They did. And Rollsville, they're back on course here. Cleveland versus Southeast Raleigh, that was a game that I did have circled. I thought Cleveland would win. I also think the Southeast Raleigh is a very good team. Losing to Cleveland 28-10, no shame in that. It shows they're still a couple steps behind Cleveland, but Southeast Raleigh, they could get hot during the playoffs. They're still a young season. They can improve as the weeks progress. Battle of Gardner, no surprise there. I'm sure Fuquay probably beat Smithfield-Selma. Smithfield-Selma's struggling program.
Right.
It's good to see my buddy Corey Lee win. Corey and I actually went to Boys State back in 1988 together. That was for rising seniors in high school. We spent a week in Wake Forest together. We didn't know each other back then, but great fellow. I'm glad to see him win. Southern Durham Hillside. This is a game I had circled. I didn't put it as my top three because of both of these programs are a little bit down. Southern Durham, I mean, that's a statement right there. They're probably the second best team in Durham after Jordan right now. So another game I had circled was Cardinal Gibbons in Middle Creek, and I thought Middle Creek would maybe bring a little bit more of a game to Cardinal Gibbons, but not tonight.
Not tonight.
Sanderson beating Holly Springs, no surprise. Jeremy Buck, I'm sure you remember Jeremy. He used to be the head football coach.
Yep.
He used to be head coach at, I think, at East Meck. And was he ever at
He started out at Harding and then went to East Meck.
Gotcha. Yeah. East Wake Franklin. And I actually thought about going to that game and decided not to. It's about an hour away. Wake Forest beating Knightdale. No surprise there. So let's see here. Lee County, they beat Harnett Central. How about Brian Till, Dale? Another big win there. 56-0 Union Pines over Triton.
This is not a surprise, this win here, but hey, he keeps on winning. That's good coach.
He is a good coach.
Yeah,
he's a better man too. Seaforth. I did not see this. I thought South Granville would beat Seaforth, but Seaforth wins 27-7. That's not going to say shock, but it does surprise me. West Craven beat North Lenore. No surprise on that one. Looking on the right side here, none of those games really surprised me too much.
No, not at all.
And a lot of those kind of let you guys know on the eastern side, a lot of it has to do with speed and just finding the right athletes. Dale, you know the difference between high school football and like Triangle and Charlotte. It's definitely a difference.
Right.
But I always think of Charlotte football. Right now, they're the king. I mean, let's just face it; they're the king on that. But you get into the 2A, 3As, the West were more physical, and the East might be a little bit faster in the smaller classifications.
So Karen, I know that was a little bit of a jab. She posted that very quickly. The Independence 35, Mallet Creek 0. So Karen, I don't know if you're still with us, but you will see me eat crow. Maybe I don't know if Langston will want to have it for the Tuesday show. If he doesn't, it'll definitely be done on Wednesday. And if he does it on the Tuesday show, it'll be done on the Wednesday show. There's a couple of games here that I need to eat crow for, Jim. Now, I figured the Palisades Providence game would be close. But I did pick Palisades, so I'll eat some crow for that too. Though I don't think that's
good.
anything like eating crow for Independence, the Independence game.
You know,
any
it's
other
good to
games
eat.
here, I should eat crow.
It's good to eat crow. It is definitely good to eat crow sometimes. You just need to. It's good for the sports.
Hey, I'm not afraid to admit I'm wrong. You know.
Yeah.
I just need to get Hey, you saw the other day what picture was used before. I'll get my my youngest granddaughter now to put her crown on me, and we'll take another picture.
Hey,
I didn't think it was going to trigger that.
I was like, do we have AI here or something? I did get a final score on that Central Gabarris Berry game. Central Gabarris beats Berry 34-15. And earlier on, I know that we were looking for that score for about Forest Hills and West Stanley, and Forest Hills did beat West Stanley 41-28. So
Yeah,
one of the past scores out.
I expected Central Cabarrus to win against Berry. That's a tough. Even that conference is tough for Berry right now. I don't know what they do, Jim. In the past they have had opportunities. Some decent teams, but right now, no.
Let's talk about a team over in Davison County, a little town called Denton. That has South Davison High School. South Davison, I don't know if they've ever had as many as more than 6 games in a season that they've won. They are 8-0. They win again tonight. They beat North Stokes. I think the score is something like 43-13. And
Jim, I would, the numbers better than me, but if you'd have asked me that, I would have said I don't think so. Because I just always remember them or think of them as not being very good.
Back in the day, you had the they call it the Central Tar Heel Conference. You had South Stanley and Albemarle as a member. Thomasville and West Davison would go in and out. They were kind of circled between 1A and 2A. You had South Davison. Back in the day, you had West Montgomery and East Montgomery. Now they no longer exist as Montgomery Central. You had Northmore. You had Jordan Matthews who would go between 1A and 2A. And then you also had Chatham Central, which has always been a 1A team. South Davison usually was in the same bucket with Chatham Central and sometimes Northmore when they were really down. They would be down there. But they couldn't beat teams like Jordan Matthews or West Montgomery. They could possibly beat East Montgomery once every 10 years or so. But a very struggling program. It is so good to see them winning games like this.
Yeah, I agree. Keep looking back at that Hickory East Lincoln game. That would have been a great game to be at, it looks like.
I don't know what I'm going to do with my rankings this week. I think right now you have to have Crescent number 1. I think they've earned it. And Hickory is probably number 2. I know Hickory lost to South Point, but I'll tell you what, Hickory is kind of, since that game, Hickory's been a little bit more impressive than South Point. So,
yeah, you got to also, Jim, that just tells me that there's
a lot of matchups.
There's a handful of really close teams.
But look at that Western Foothills 4A, 5A. I mean, besides Hickory and East Lincoln, Maiden, Bandies.
Yeah.
Those are 2 4A teams right there. Maiden, beginning of the season, I had them like 2nd or 3rd, I believe. Newton Conover had been in and out of the top 10. I think they were in my top 10. West Iredale is a team that I don't think they won a game last year. Now look at them. They're doing great. That is a fun conference right there. I know Alan Drump is very happy to be in that or covering that conference, just like Jeff Miller is probably happy with the Big South. You know,
He's always been happy with that Big South. There's some good teams in both conferences, but I think the Western Foothills is top to bottom probably a more solid conference.
Oh, I agree. And then you also have like teams like Burns and Shelby. Burns, I believe, is 4A. Shelby's 3A.
Mm-hmm.
Lincolnton is a 3A. That conference, that I think is like a 2A, 3A, 4A conference.
Right.
I mean, that's a very highly competitive conference at the top. So
did you just looking at the Monroe-Anson County game, and I've certainly picked Monroe in my head to win that game. And actually, I thought it might be that's 12 points. I thought it might be a little more than that, Jim.
I was going in. I thought I was trying to decide I was going between 4 and 5 scores.
Yeah.
So you.
Same here. So I felt like it'd at least be 3 scores, to be honest with you. And 4 wouldn't have.
County, they seem like Anson's got a little bit better as the season's progressed, and Monroe just hasn't. Monroe played that brutal schedule at the beginning of the season, and they haven't really. I don't know. It's not like they, would pay the price for playing that brutal schedule, but haven't seen this much improvement as I usually see from Monroe team.
It's like almost
they're plateauing.
Have they hit their ceiling?
Yeah.
And this is where they are, and this is where they'll, what they are is what they are, and or will be throughout the rest of the season.
Something else, Dale. As much as we were talking about like Hickory and East Lincoln, Crest and South Point, we're not many people are talking about J.M. Robinson, and I'm going to tell you right now, J.M. Robinson is a team that is going to come back and haunt some people. We had Joe Glass on the show this last Wednesday. He even said that he thinks J.M. Robinson is being overlooked.
Yeah, I think. I don't hear you, Jim.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, it's me. Probably me.
Okay. I was looking at Cap 8, Millbrook. Obviously, they're the team to be in that conference, but Leesville Road I think Leesville Road is your second best team in that Cap 8. And I think I say that I think they've been a little bit more consistent in Roseville. Leesville Road and Roseville was supposed to play sometime. I can't remember if it's this next week or the week after. That's going to be a really good game. That's going to be a battle for second place in that Cap 8.
Yeah, I expect it'll be a really good game. I got my hearing back. I don't know what's happening. I remembered it happened last week, so
it's all cool, man. I'm gonna see if I can find something about that East Wake and Franklinton score, because that was one of those games I was kind of interested in going to, because I thought it would be a decent game. And Franklinton actually won 14-0, and I like a good defensive game. Dale, though, sometimes not all 14-0 games are the same. Sometimes just really bad, sloppy execution on offense.
No question.
But sometimes it's really good defense. I love good defensive games.
I always tell people, Jim, one of the best games that I've seen was an NC State Maryland game that NC State won 7-0. I love those kind of games. I love defense. I love seeing defense, and I love seeing running. I like to see rushes. I love to see that.
I guess it's been, I'm gonna say probably 12 years ago. I took a friend of mine over to Orange High School back when Pat Moser was the coach, and they were playing Northwood. And I said, Northwood's got one of the best back then. Northwood had one of the best defenses in the 3A level, and Orange used to run the double wing under Pat Moser. And I said, this is going to be a really close game. It's going to be a low scoring game. Well, about 5.5 minutes into the first quarter, both teams had already scored, and it was 14-7. And my friend looked at me and says, "Yeah, low scoring game. You're kidding me here. I haven't seen any defense." Well, I'll tell you what. For the remaining of the game, we saw nothing but defense. The final score was 14-7 Orange, and it's just, it's one of those things. Defenses can lapse a little. When it comes to football, if you have a really good defense, it allows you to have an off night on offense.
Exactly. I was just thinking that Sam Griner, he's big on defenses, and he prefers to run. And he's in a kind of a situation now that he's having to be more, not having, but to match his talent or his skill of his players. He has to be more explosive on offense now than I think he, in his heart of hearts, would like to be.
I just got a score. Fuquay beat Smithfield Selma 51-0. Just wanted to pass that on to everybody. I'm kind of with Sam on that. I like a good running team, and people used to joke with me, saying that if I was a head coach, I'd do the Notre Dame box, and I'm like, I don't know why you're all knocking that. It's a good ball control offense. I may not do much this day and age.
I wouldn't mind having a team that I could run a double wing, and
double wing's fun.
Yeah, exactly. I think Mallard Creek would have just dominated during their strong run with those lines that they had and the physical, just the size of all their players and running backs. They would have ate things up running a double wing.
Did Mallard Creek ever run either the straight T or the wing T?
They ran wing T some under Aaron Brand. Yeah,
I gotcha. I like the wing T.
Yeah, wing T's my favorite offense. But I like a modified wing T. I like one that does allow more than a split end. It actually, you can go ahead and throw a wide receiver out if you want to. You can run some slot receivers out of it.
Does he run a wing T? I can't remember. Like kind of a spread wing T?
Yeah.
Or didn't he one time? I can't remember.
Butler ran wing T, a modified wing T. Shuford's, they ran Barry Shuford's offense when Barry was there, when Newsom was there. So they ran a modified wing T. And then Hales started running, when Hales took over, he introduced, I'm trying to think of some of the schemes I saw him run. I actually saw him run, I think, some definitely some veer. So but we'll have to ask Coach Hales what his favorite, when we talk next Wednesday about all of them's favorite play. He loves that play too. We'll let him talk about what he thinks his favorite offense is. But
the one position that I always like seeing on the football field, I don't care if it's high school, college, or pro, is a fullback. And fullbacks are becoming more obsolete. I love a good running game when you have a fullback and is able to make a difference.
I think an I and a power I that's a great offense, especially if you've got a dynamic tailback like Parks from West Rowan, if you remember him, KP Parks, right? So when you got a tailback like that, uh, a fullback is so important, both in short yardage situations, but also leading that tailback through. So fullbacks are a lot of fun to watch when they're put into a situation where they can be utilized. Now, I'm bragging on the fullbacks because that was the position I played in high school. So I kind of like fullback, and
When you
we
played
did.
fullback, did you do any like screen plays as a fullback? Did you ever be used as a
We
receiver?
So we had two offenses. We had a red and a gray offense, and one was basically a split T with some wing stuff. It was a Maryland offense, is what it was, and then we ran I formation. We never ran power I. You got to remember in the '70s, we screened. We did some screens, but
You didn't believe in the forward pass, did you?
no, we threw the ball, but we didn't throw the ball anything like uh, in Charlotte. The first team to really utilize the pass effectively was actually Harding under Coach Harden with Mike Epley at quarterback.
Hmm.
Um,
Epley, was he
Mike,
over? Did he end up going to Clemson, or is this somebody else I'm thinking?
no, Mike Epley starting. He was starting point guard at Clemson and starting quarterback at Clemson.
I
Yeah, he
thought
went to
so.
Clemson.
Yeah.
But Coach Danny Ford. Epley was a great. To me, he's the best high
Who,
school quarterback.
who was there was a redhead that played for basketball during that time. I was thinking maybe it was a Jarman or somebody, or
At Clemson,
yeah, Clemson. I can't remember. I met him. This was back in '96. In a former lifetime. I was a credit manager. But anyway, we got some more
yeah,
statewide scores here.
yeah, Reynolds.
Ashboro, they keep on winning. They beat Eastern Guilford 37-33. I've seen both of those teams, and I thought that was going to be a close game today. So
Well, look at Conley beating Newbern.
that was one of those games. I thought New Bern would be slightly favored in that, and Conley pulls out the upset. That was one of my three that I mentioned earlier on. So
It sure is. That was part of your big three, wasn't it?
Grimsley in the Battle of Greensboro, they beat Page 48-14. Page is a team. I think they're probably another year off until they're going to be a really solid 7A team.
And Gramsley's showing come playoffs, they're going to be tough.
Yeah, they're going to be great. Over in Asheville, they beat Irwin 41-35 today. I thought that was going to be a pretty close one.
That score south of Asheville, Hendersonville, and Avery County. Look at that. Over 100 points there.
Avery County, I think, has like 19 players on their roster.
Yeah, I didn't think that would be a game at all, but look at the points that got thrown up in that game.
Yeah. Aiden Grifton, they beat Green Central 35-0. Not many people are talking about Aiden Grifton like they should have. I can't remember if Aiden Grifton's 3A or 4A, but they're definitely one of those teams that it wouldn't be surprised me if they make a pretty good run in the playoffs.
Hey, our buddy Garrett's team won tonight.
Yeah, James Keenan.
Uh-huh.
CBA Cock, they started out pretty good this season, and they just kind of hit a wall, and they haven't recovered since then. Lejeune beats Jones. Lejeune's, they're happy when they win a game. Very happy, because that doesn't happen very often these days. Murphy. Murphy's a team. They're a 2A team. They might have something to play with Corvian or community school. I'll tell you what, Murphy and Corvian would be a fun game to watch.
I think Murphy can be not a roadblock, but they can be a speed bump for a number of teams in the playoffs.
Mountain Heritage, they beat Mitchell tonight, 45-13. That's a good win. Oh, just looking to here. East Rutherford They beat Patton 35-0. East Rutherford, that's another 3A team that a lot of people are overlooking. They might be one of the. I think they're top 4 or 5 in the state. Beginning of the week, I think Lincolnton 1, Shelby 2, Walkertown at 3. East Rutherford, I believe, was something like 5. I think I had James Keenan maybe up there. Maybe James Keenan was 3. Come think of it. Walkertown 4, and then East Rutherford 5. Great teams there. Let's see here. Jacksonville, they beat South Central 28-7. No surprise there. No, not many surprises here tonight.
No, there aren't. Across all games, every game we've seen, there's not many surprises.
When there's a surprise, there's a surprise. Indy, Mallard Creek.
That's a surprise.
I mean, does that even rank up with a shock, 35-0?
I think that's more of a surprise than Indy winning was how they won.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mallard Creek. Someone's told me tonight, and I will not rat them out. But their comment was that Mallard Creek's offense is the big issue there, and that's something that Gary was on all last season. Was the offense, and just man, I thought the physicality of Mallard Creek would play a bigger factor, but obviously it didn't. Indy that's a dominating win, Jim. 35-0. That's dominating.
Right. I'm thinking, did Mallard Creek and was it Cardinal Gibbons played earlier on in the season?
Yep.
And Mallard Creek won that game something like 20-16.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Indies, they've righted the ship, that's for sure. Got some more scores here. Oak Grove beat Mount Tabor 52-42. Mount Tabor, they started out the season kind of on a losing streak. I think they had some players dinged up and finally got most of their players back, and they're very competitive right now. Pender, Tom Eanes' guy. I mean, Tom Eanes has been everywhere in the state. He's been all the way from I think I forgot what it was at Patton over in Morganton all the way down to Pender. He was at Albemarle. He was at Orange High School right down the road from me, East Lincoln, Bandies.
Look at that Rocky Mount Southern Nash game.
That was one of those games that I thought was going to be a really good one, to be honest with you. And I actually thought Rocky Mount might be just a little bit better. 71st, E. Smith forfeit. I guess E. Smith, because of the tragedy, elected not to play tonight.
Yeah.
So I hate seeing that they had to forfeit the game. To me, it's one of those things. Let's just call it what it is. It's
my guess is it was probably a team decision. Players, coaches.
Oh gosh, Cleveland football player. I just saw they had a cardiac arrest on the field tonight. Well, if we get some more details about that, we will share that.
We don't know if he passed, do we?
We do not have anything that says he's passed, but that scares me as not only as a fan but also as a father. You hate seeing these young kids in that situation. Walkertown will beat McMichaels 60-0. That's a good win. I was going to say I saw one of my scores I saw earlier on. Williams beat Eastern Alamance by about 6 points. Southern Alamance beats Person. Tarboro beats Bedingfield. Oh gosh!
No surprise.
I see a lot of running clock scores here. West Davidson beats Whitmore.
Exactly. Oh, West Davidson. Yeah. That looks like a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these scores tonight are just big margin scores.
You got that right. And
Raven, you asked me about when the Raven Gap Christ School game came up. Well, you can see there,
right.
no surprise. Although we're off of that now.
Yeah.
Boy, look at that Asheville Irwin game. That's a
That
rival
41.
game there.
Tell you
Well,
what,
apparently some people are signing on, so we'll go through this Charlotte
yeah, let's
scores
go
again.
back to let's go back through the Charlotte scores here. I'll tell you what, why don't you take the lead since you're Charlotte man?
Well, Hopewell Garinger, no surprise there, other than I thought it might be a little closer. I thought Garinger might be able to keep it a little bit closer. Huff, South Meck, as we talked Wednesday night, that's a tough game. Myers Park all over my West Mecklenburg. Really, Jim, I thought Chambers would be a close game, but as we were saying just a few moments ago, Indy, Mallard Creek. I think both of us are shocked at that margin. And you got to be. I think. Gosh, how do you find moral victories in a loss of 21 points? But I really think that's West Charlotte's a good darn football team. And Butler, holding them to 21. Obviously, West Charlotte held Butler scoreless, but other than
these
that,
teams.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
These teams are going to be playing in 2026, 2027, 2028. Just think about what's going to happen in like 3 years. Who knows? Butler might be beating West Charlotte 21-0 by then. These are some really good teams in this conference.
Exactly. If Coach L sticks around, he can. There's a lot of work he's got to do to rebuild that program, but yeah, I could see that being a competitive game here in the future.
Right.
No surprises other than I was at the Palisades Providence game. People,
33.
you're gonna see some of the highlights from it. Palisades got up 28-7 in this game, folks, and then about midway, maybe short of midway, maybe 3/4 of the way through in the fourth quarter, Providence mounted their comeback and took the game to overtime and won in overtime. So congratulations to Providence, doing exactly what you have to do, which is not folding. Again, on this play here, I wish I'd have been zoomed out a little bit, but it was a great catch right there at the back of the end zone.
From the Providence 5, tight formation.
And here you go, Palisades. Jim, I told you before, Palisades did all the things they had to do. It looked like it was going to be a runaway game. And guys, any players watching, you never quit and you never give up or you never let up if you're up in front. Watch this play right here.
Under 10 seconds remain.
This is a wonderful catch here. What a catch.
3rd and goal.
Tied it up, and
8-yard line.
Palisades couldn't do anything. They were stopped just short of the goal line. And that was on 3rd down, if I remember correctly. Providence takes it.
Hey, Providence wins in OT.
And then I got out of there. I did fall in the game, Jim. I don't know if y'all caught that. I had a pretty big fall.
Oh, no.
Landed on my back. The ball came right at me. and then it was rolling, and I'm like, okay, I played soccer. I know how to trap a ball. And so I was trapping the ball, but the ball moved out from under me, and I
Oh,
flew and landed on my back. So I may not be able to get out of bed tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. Um, Audrey Kell, big win. Rocky River, that's good. That's a good win for Rocky River.
it is. It's a very good win. So it's good to see Coach Kim Clamrick win that game.
I don't see any surprises in the Metros, Greater Metro
No,
6A, 7A. I mean, we even both felt like the West Cabarrus Coxville game would be a one-score game. So
yeah,
it'd be an
I think that
overtime.
might be the best game of the whole week. To be honest with you, in the state for a competitive nature.
No, that I'd say the Providence Palisades game was right there
Province,
with it.
gotcha.
Yeah, but now going into the game,
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Going into it, it's
okay,
like,
going into the
yeah,
game exactly. It's we
I,
look down here, Jim. Go ahead.
that Marvin Ridge Charlotte Catholic score. That's just something that still kind of blows me away.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. As we go down here, you kind of look at that Marvin Ridge score and say, "All right, I didn't think Catholic would lose. I didn't think Catholic would win. 3 scores, 4 scores. I felt like Catholic might win 1 to 2 scores, but
And Dale,
gosh
just kind of
darn, they
let you know.
lost.
So I know you've lost you have less body fat than I do these days. I don't like the cold weather either. And my daughter gave me this little cap to put on
Uh-huh.
at football games. And I'll tell you what, this right here is just perfect for me. It just keeps my head warm and don't have to worry about things. As long as I keep my head warm, I'm usually in pretty good shape.
For me, Jim, um, my worst things from playing baseball. I actually jammed knuckles playing baseball, but
Uh,
football definitely. I think I've jammed every knuckle, and I'm worried about my hand right here because it's from that fall. This knuckle right here is hurting me, but that cold gets into these joints. So for me, I don't have any hair to keep me warm. It was my arms and my
yeah.
hands.
I won't rub in or so talk about my hair. Um, Ashbrook, Forest Hills, no surprise. Crest, North Gas, no surprise. South Point shutting out Kings Mountain, that surprised me. Kings Mountain's got a good offense.
Yeah,
That's
see what shocks me, Jim, is I gave consideration to going to the South Point Kings Mountain game because the environment at South Point is close, so I could get home quickly for the show, and I thought it was going to be a competitive game.
right.
I was wrong on the competitive part.
Crest 5A, South Point 5A, another 5A in the South Piedmont. J.M. Robinson beats West Rowan 49-0. A lot of people don't remember this, but West Rowan won 3 state championships in a row. They won the small 3A back, I think it was between like 2008 to 2010.
Scott Young,
Scott Young,
I
great
remember
man.
him. Yeah,
He
I think
was,
one of the most fun playoff games I've been to. There's a lot of them, but was A.L. Brown and West Rowan at West Rowan.
Scott and I didn't meet until 2015. We knew each other. We were about the same age. Actually, we are the same age. And first time I met him, within 20 minutes, he had me following him, trespassing through some people's yards in Kannapolis to see something. I'll go into later details, but there's not many people I'd break the wall with. But Scott Young, he was such a great leader. I didn't even think twice about it. And I'm one of the most cautious people when it comes to breaking the wall. Just a great leader. Just absolutely loved Scott. Wish he was still with us.
Yeah, every time I went to a West Rowan game, he treated me nice, treated me well. I should say not nice, but he treated me well. And I did go to a number of West Rowan games. I probably went to 8 games approximately, because I like watching Parks play, and Mooresville West Rowan's a big rival game, so I went up to that game a couple of times. Good guy he was.
Great guy on that. But, we saw East Lincoln, Hickory, J.M. Robinson, Crest, South Point. I just can't stress how much that 5A West is. It's going to be so competitive come playoff time.
It is. I agree.
Christ the King winning, Corvian, Community School Davison. Community School Davison, a very good team. Corvian had a kind of a sloppy night, as Coach Chris said, and they still win 29-28. That's a sign of a great program when you can have an off night and beat a very good team like Community School Davison. That bottom score, Stuart Kramer beating Lincolnton 45-21.
That's another surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, that almost breaks the shock. Not that
I was gonna
Stuart
say,
won,
yeah.
but
That's why I raised my hand up. That's a shock, actually, not a surprise. That's a shock.
Yeah.
That ranks on level of shock as the Mallard Creek Indy game to me.
Right.
Yeah. Because I think both of us picked Lincolnton to win that game.
Yeah, I thought so. I was saying, I think Lincoln's going to win this game, but I don't think Stuart Kramer's going to get blown out. And then what happens? Stuart Kramer pretty much beats the brakes off of Lincolnton.
Exactly.
Mountain Island Charter, they win again. They beat Bonnie Cone. Yadkin Valley 1A, 2A, 3A. I mean, you got your 3 top teams are South Stanley, North Stanley, and North Rowan. And those 3 teams have all lost 1 game. And then after that, you probably have like Thomas Jefferson and Mountain Island Charter fighting for 4th. And then I think Albemarle beating Union Academy has probably got them in 6th place now. So not a bad conference for small football or, small classification football.
Right. The problem with that conference, 1A, 2A, 3A, just like the Southern Piedmont, 2A, 3A, 4A, and the Catawba Shores, 2A, 3A, 4A. I don't like that. I don't like split conferences.
I don't either.
This is freaking, triple sliced.
Mountain Island Charter, was it Mooresboro, or what's that place called that the Mountain Island Charter's in? They're in Rutherford County, or?
No, Mountain Island Charter is not too far from Coach Chris. So
okay, in Gaston County.
It's right on the Gaston County, Mecklenburg County line, right there at the lake, Mountain Island Lake. So we got Lake Norman, then Mountain Island, and then Lake Wiley. So it's a middle lake between Lake
they're
Norman.
in Gaston. Yeah, just kind of right there on the Gaston.
Exactly.
I mean, going from that area to New London, North Carolina, or Norwood, that's a pretty good hike right there.
It's a decent hike. That's right.
Yeah, that's a very good hike. So, so I'll tell you what, maybe we can look at some, in a little bit, we can look at some Wake County scores. Here we go. I'll start this out. Apex beats Green Level. Green Level, a very struggling program. Apex is struggling this year too. So good to see Apex win. Jordan, I'll tell you right now, Jordan's undefeated, I believe, and they beat Panther Creek 35-6. And the game I went to was Willow Spring Green Hope, and the game started out. Green Hope had their first opening drive. They had the ball from kickoff all the way to 1 minute and 57 seconds left in the first quarter. They had the ball for a little over 10 minutes in one possession, and they score a touchdown. And the next thing you know, Willow Spring scores 17 points, and Willow Spring leads Green Hope 17-7 at halftime. Green Hope, they kind of puttered around a little bit. They did intercept the ball in Willow Spring and a deep pass, and Grand Hope did another one of these 5 or 6 minute drives, scores a touchdown. And then they score another touchdown with about 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter to go up 21-17. And then Willow Springs, they get the ball. Actually, Willow Spring, not plural, but Willow Spring gets the ball and scores a touchdown with 38 seconds left. And I think that it was a throw to the tight end, if I remember correctly. So good win. I'll tell you this right now. I've seen Lee County play. I think both those teams are kind of on the Lee County's quality. It's a decent 6A quality. It's a big drop down in 8A in the Wake County area.
So anybody listening, let's all pressure Jim to give us highlights next week. Use this camera and get us some highlights, Jim, so we can have some.
Well, I gotta remember to do it this way as opposed to doing this way.
Yes, do it that way. Exactly.
Yeah, gotta do it long stuff. There was a couple clips I sent over to our guy, but there was horizontally. But the problem was every time I saw a good play, it was going away from me, and it was so bad here. Looking here, Union Pines beating Triton 56-0. No shock on that. I'd love to find out if I'm hoping Orange beats Carborough. Orange has been struggling the state least this year. Coach Hesenthaler, he used to be the head coach at Southeast Guilford, then later on Southern Alamance. Great fella. He's now the head football coach at Orange. I did get a final score on that game. Orange wins 31-12, and I'm sure Jeff Webb probably beat Cedar Ridge by a running score. That I was going to say that North Pitt Eastern Wayne. I'm kind of curious if I can find a score on that. Dale, I'll let you look at those. Tell us if you think you see anything really big.
The big rival game, Asheville-Irwin. That's a huge rival game, and it played itself. I don't know how it played out, but 41-35. It had excitement in it. Asheboro, that's a nice win.
I've seen both those teams play. They actually look a lot like each other. That's a good conference. I mean, you got Eastern Guilford, you got Northern Guilford. Northern Guilford barely beat Asheboro. Asheboro loses last week, I think, to Southeast Guilford. In Eastern Guilford, Southeast Guilford, Asheboro, all these teams are pretty much alike. I mean, there's probably about 4 or 5 teams that are kind of fighting for second. I think Northern Guilford is the best team in that conference, but not a weak school. Probably the weakest one is Southern Guilford, and it's just because they're young. They don't have a lot of seniors this year.
The Conley Newbern game, that kind of stands out.
I did get a final score on the Eastern Wayne North Pitt. Eastern Wayne beats North Pitt 45-12. That kind of shocks me. I thought North Pitt would be more competitive in that game. I was thinking maybe a 1-score game between those two teams. Eastern Wayne, I had really big hopes for them at the beginning of the season, and then they kind of plateaued, but maybe they're on the upswing again. Trying to see if we got anything else here. I don't see anything really to talk about.
No, not out of that group. Nope, sure don't.
See a lot of running scores here, running clocks here.
Yeah, I didn't realize the running clock was now. Is it 35?
35. That's correct.
What was the logic behind that? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't. I was just going to think about the ethics of it having a running clock. Oh, let's see, it's got some.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know why you would go 35 instead of 42. What was the big deal there? But a lot of running clock tonight. Exactly.
I don't like running clocks all the time. I mean, sometimes it's good, especially if one team just doesn't have a lot of depth. The team that's getting blown out doesn't have a lot of depth. I'm fine with having a running clock. But sometimes if you have, let's say you have each team has at least 30 players, getting those substitutes some time to some game action to me it's worthwhile just to get them on
Listen,
the field.
some of these teams. So the big schools, the big programs, because this can happen in the 5A, 6As as well. They'll field 50. I think coaches have told me. I've asked a number of coaches this question, and that is, how many players do you want on varsity? What's your maximum? And coaches have told me that in a game, it's hard to manage over 50 players. So they want to cap it typically at 50. So some of these programs, if they can, they'll have 50 players, Jim. And you got running clocks. There's a lot of kids that don't get to play. And here's an opportunity to get some play time. And, well, all of a sudden, it's just like 10 minutes goes by and the game's over,
Right.
I don't like it for that reason.
I gotcha. Dale, I'll tell you what, I know it's getting kind of late. Wanted to get your final thoughts about tonight.
My final thoughts. So
I'm going to take by Jack Handy.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. You might think I don't know who that is, but I do. What was that? Second City, is that right? Anyway, my thoughts are going to come from the game I attended tonight, and probably applies to a number of games, and that's you got to finish. As whenever you set out to do something, and even if you're moving along and you're successful in what you're doing, you can't let up. You got to continue. You got to finish, because if you don't finish, the other team has an opportunity, and the other team will finish. So
right.
I saw a team come from being finished to actually executing the finish. So as my thoughts are, as anything you do, finish it. Make sure you put all your effort in until, if it's a game or whatever it is, until it's done. And in a game, be it football, basketball, baseball, it's not done until the last whistle is blown and says that's it. So you got to give everything up to that point. That's my thoughts based off of what I saw.
I'll tell you what, it sounds like you'd be a good golf coach. You can drive the ball as far as you want to, but you still have to get it on the green. So it's not how you drive, but how you arrive. So
and how you arrive in, you got to putt. You got to you get on the green.
Yeah.
Then you still got to finish, man. You could.
Yeah.
I've seen people, Jim, get on the green and putt around. They'll putt it short, and then now they'll hit it hard and they'll go past. And I've seen too much of that. So yeah, finish.
I agree with you. Well, Dale, it's always a pleasure. We've been doing this together for probably close to 10 years now, and from Jim West, Dale Ross, and countless others, thank you so much for joining us on Talking Preps. And please come back and check us out. I believe we're going to Talking Preps will be on Tuesday at 8:00. And here we go. Thank you. Yeah. So we got some of the times here, but
and you will get to see me eat crow. I know you want to see that. So it's going to be on all those shows. It may not be on our Friday night show, Jim, but
Talking Preps OT on Wednesday. I think I called it plus.
You called it plus. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a plus size guy these days. Need to go on diet. But guys, take care of yourself, and we'll catch up with you sometime next week. Take care.